I'm okay. Is the audio good? Okay. Hello, great scholars. Please, if you can hear me, just comment hello. Hello, good evening, everybody. How's been your day? Okay, good. All right, feel so good to have you here. Okay, I can see all of you. Hello. Thank you so much. We are starting the class immediately now. Okay, is the audio very good? Just say yes. Is the audio fine now? Is it good now? Just say yes. Okay, good. All right, let me just give you the general overview of the exam for GNS 102. That is Communication in English 1. All right. I want everybody to get ready as I give you the general overview, the structure of the exam, what you should expect to see in the questions. I think those people that are saying no to the audio quality, I think you need to check your network very well. But I think the majority here say the audio is good. Yeah, most people are saying the audio is good. All right. Sections. That's section 1, section 2, section 3. All right. I just got the comment that the audio is very, very, very good. So the exam has 3 different sections: section 1, section 2, and section 3. For section 1, you are going to be having objective questions. Now, the objective questions are not multiple choice questions. That is, you are not going to be given answers as your options. Okay, but it's going to be fill in the gaps. You're going to have gaps to fill, and the total number of gaps we fill for GNS 102 exam, the total number of gaps is 40. So that is, we have 40 gaps to fill. Now, and the 40 gaps will give you 40 marks. Don't you see that is fantastic? Now, if you are very good, for those of you that have been attending classes regularly, you are going to have it so simple. And with that, if you're able to score a very good mark in section 1, it means you're already very close to having distinction in this exam. Okay, so you have 40 gaps to fill. No options for the answer. You are going to supply the answer to each of the gaps there. Okay, but section 2 is going to be correspondence. For correspondence, we are going to be having 2 or 3 topics for a letter writing. Don't forget, correspondence simply means letter writing. Okay, please. Okay. Still very okay. Okay. Now you're going to be having three topics for letter writing. We give you options for the correspondence aspect. That is, you choose one topic to write a letter on. Um, in this case, I think we are going to have an informal letter this time around. But probably if you have a formal letter, you are going to have option for informal letter. Now, we have done so much on both formal and informal letters in class. Whichever one comes, they should be able to handle it very well. So we are going to be having um, letter writing as section 2. And the section 3 is going to be comprehension and interpretation, where we are going to give you a comprehension passage. And the comprehension passage is going to be followed by several questions, comprehension questions. And for this, I'm going to be teaching you how to go about it. Now, the best way to approach your comprehension passage, I'm going to be telling you. Now, those are the three different sections for these exams. Now, the section 1 is going to cover every aspect of the course outline. That is for everything we have done in class. Every aspect of the course outline. Don't forget, the first uh, topic discussed in class, the first topic was communication. That is concept of communication, meaning of communication, then process of communication and elements of communication. Then the difference between or relationship between communication and language. Then interference, the concept of interference in communication, and some other topics like that. That is for the first major topic in the course. Now, this section 1 will cover those aspects too, and going also to the aspect of oral presentation, where we discuss several aspects of speech in communication. And don't forget, the first thing we did under that was organs of speech. Remember, organs of speech? We gave you the diagram of organs of speech and we discussed various organs of speech in communication. Um, don't forget, the organs of speech are also known as, can somebody tell me the answer there? Organs of speech are also known as, answer from anybody there. Organs of speech are also known as, okay, organs of speech are also known as articulators. Articulators. So for articulators, we have two different types of articulators. We have the active articulators and we have passive articulators. Don't forget, the passive articulators are found at the roof of the mouth. That is, the articulators that are at the upper part of the mouth. They are called passive articulators. But the active articulators are those articulators that are found at the lower part of the mouth. Now, if I give you, okay, let me give you the list of the passive articulators we have. Starting from the outside part of your mouth, we have the upper lip, then we have the front teeth, the front upper teeth, then we have the alveolar ridge, we have the uh, hard palate, then we have the soft palate. Those 5 articulators are called passive articulators. Then for the active articulators, we have the lower lip, the lower front teeth, then we have the tongue as the most active articulator among all the articulators, the most active articulators. So for the organs of speech, you are going to be answering questions on organs of speech too in the section 1. Then don't forget some other topics under um, oral presentation, uh, the English phonemes, that is consonants and vowels. So we taught you in class that we have 44 English sounds, 44 speech sounds in the English language. 44 speech sounds. Out of the 44 speech sounds, 24 of them are consonant sounds, and the remaining 12, sorry, the remaining 20 are the vowel sounds. So we have 24 consonant sounds and 20 vowel sounds, making 24 speech sounds altogether. And don't forget, for the consonant sounds, we have those consonant sounds that are voiced sounds, and we have those that are voiceless sounds. Uh, we are going to be answering questions on those too. Then for the vowel sounds, don't forget we taught you that the vowel sounds are divided into two at this level. At other levels, I think we have three classes of vowel sounds. But at this level, we have two, which are monotones and diphthongs. Don't forget we have 12 monotones in the English language, and the monotones are also called the pure vowels because their pronunciation involves just one place of vowel, one quality, one vowel quality. But we have the diphthongs, which have two vowel qualities in one sound, and they are just eight in the English language. We have 8 diphthongs and 12 monotones. The diphthongs are also called glides. The diphthongs are also called glides because their production involves gliding from one vowel quality, that is one vowel place, to another vowel place. So that is why we call it glides. And we have two symbols representing just one vowel when it is a diphthong. Okay. Then after that, we discuss the supra-segmental elements in the speech system. Now that is element of effective speaking. Now those are the elements that will make you speak effectively as a communicator. And don't forget, the first one of them is the syllable. Syllable, then we have stress, then we have intonation. Don't forget syllables. Syllable means the smallest indivisible unit of a word, the smallest indivisible and pronounceable unit of word. Now, take note of three aspects of that description. Smallest, that is, when you divide a word into segments. Now, each segment you divide it into must be the smallest segment. Then it must be pronounceable. You should be able to pronounce it. Then it must be indivisible. That is, you should not be able to divide it anymore. So smallest indivisible pronounceable unit of a word, that is what a syllable is. Now, for example, if you have the word teacher, now teacher has two syllables, and if you divide that word into segments, you'll be able to divide it into only two segments. If you try to divide further, then you are not going to achieve a syllable. Syllable must be pronounceable, then it must be the smallest uh, division of words. So after syllable, we also treated stress as a supra-segmental element, that is element of uh, effective speaking. Now, stress simply means the prominence you give to a syllable among other syllables in a word. So, for example, if a word has two syllables, now you will give prominence to one of the syllables when you pronounce the word than the other syllable. The word we just pronounced now, for example, the word teacher. Teacher. You notice that uh, it is two syllables. It has two syllables. But when I pronounce teacher, my voice, the pitch of my voice was raised at one segment, and at the other segment, it was lowered. So if you notice, teacher, the first syllable, which is T, is pronounced with more pressure. This it is higher in pitch than the other syllable, which is ch. So teacher has two syllables, and the stress syllable, the syllable that is stressed, that is the primary stress, is T, the first syllable. All right, that is for stress. But for intonation, now intonation means the diversity in the movement of your voice when you speak, that is going up and coming down of the pitch of your voice when you speak. That is intonation. Now, you have the intonation pattern for a question, you have the intonation pattern for uh, just a statement. Now, for example, WH question will have falling intonation. Who is that? Who is that? That is a WH question. Who is that? You say it has falling tone. Uh, what is your name? What is your name? That is also falling tone because it's a WH question. Where are you going? Where are you going? That is falling tone too because it's a WH question. But most of the time, a yes or no question should be in rising tone. It should end in rising tone. Is that your father? Is that your father? It is wrong to say, is that your father? It's wrong to say, is that your father? It's not falling tone. Yes or no question is not in falling tone. But are you coming tomorrow? Not are you coming tomorrow? Are you coming tomorrow? You are raising your voice to ask a yes or no question. That is yes or no question. That is intonation pattern for a yes or no question. You ask a yes or no question, raising your the pitch of your voice, especially towards the end of the question. Will you be here tomorrow? Can you give me your pen? Look at those questions. They are yes or no question, but they have rising intonation. Rising intonation. Now, statements on statements will be in the falling tone. That is good. That is good. Okay. All right. Some people are just coming in. I can see good evening, sir. All right. Just join the class, and your comment should be about the ongoing lecture. Okay. If you can't see anything, hello. I think the video has okay. Engineer, are we good? The video, some people are saying they can't see anything. The video has gone back. I can't see anything. Those are the comments here. So most people are saying I can't see anything. All right, we have the question on the screen now. We have the question on the screen now. Okay, now the question on the screen is the question we are going to treat today. And engineer, please can I see the upper part of the question? I want to see the session and the semester. Okay, please bring it down. Let's see the session. Now, I already sent copies of this question to your class reps. No, it's going up. I want it to come down. Let's come down. Okay, so good. Come down a little bit more. Okay, if you as you can see, this is the past question for second semester examination 2022-2023 session. I think about 2 sessions ago. But these questions are still very, very relevant to the several topics we have discussed in class. Now, this is Faculty of Social Management and Humanities, Department of Languages and Communication Studies, second semester examination 2022-2023. So we are treating a past question. Please emphasize that we are treating a past question. This is not having anything to do with the exam you are about to write. Okay, so we are going to start from the section 1. Okay, please let me complete my explanation on the supra-segmental element, that is the element of effective speaking. We have discussed syllable, we have discussed stress. We are now discussing intonation. All right. So I said for WH question, the intonation pattern is falling tone. And for yes or no question, the intonation pattern is always rising tone. When you ask a yes or no question in falling tone, then you'll be wrong. That would be wrong. But you ask yes or no question using rising tone. Okay. Now, don't forget also that we discuss interference, that is under uh, communication, concept of communication, interference, uh, which means the imposition of the codes of a language on another language in the process of speaking. Now, I gave example of interference that when you have something uh, as an entity and some other thing is interacting with it, maybe consciously or unconsciously. Now, that is to illustrate interference in communication. For example, if you have Yoruba language as your L1, that is the first language, and English language as your L2, that is the second language, then you it is likely you are affected by interference. Meanwhile, when you speak or when you're having conversation, English language will interfere with your expressions in Yoruba, and on the other way, Yoruba will have we have interaction with English language when you speak. So it means interference is a concept that only affects bilingual or multilingual people. Bilingualism means your ability to speak two different languages. That is bilingualism. But if you speak more than two languages, that is multilingualism. So interference cannot affect somebody who is monolingual, that is somebody who speaks just one language. For example, the illiterate women at different marketplaces uh, are not likely to be affected by interference because they speak only one language. But if you speak two languages, one will interfere with the other when you are speaking. So it means for you to be able to speak one language effectively without introducing the other language into it, you have to take some conscious effort to avoid it. So you are most of the time unconsciously affected by interference, that is, you introduce the other language into the language in discussion. And your language of discussion at a particular time you are discussing or having conversation with your friends or any form of conversation with anyone. So that is interference. Now, monolingual people are not likely to be affected by interference, but when you speak two languages, that is, you're a bilingual person, you speak Yoruba and English, or you speak Hausa and English, or you speak Igbo and English, you will be affected by interference. And that interference has uh, two types. We have two types of interference. We have the proactive interference and we have the retroactive interference. Proactive means that kind of interference that helps in the process of learning the second language. That is, if your L1 is Yoruba, that is, your parents speak Yoruba, but you go to school to achieve, I mean, Western education or formal education, then they begin to teach you English language. In the process of learning English language, because you already speak Yoruba, now proactive interference will help you to pronounce some words which have their letters already existing in the Yoruba language. That is proactive interference. For example, uh, to pronounce the word tailor will not be difficult for a Yoruba speaker because most of the sound in that word are also in the Yoruba language. So it will not be difficult for you. But retroactive interference is the kind of interference that affects the learning of the second language negatively when you are learning the second language. All right. In that case, there are some sound patterns that are in the English language, but they do not exist in Yoruba language. It will be difficult for the second learner of English language to pronounce some words. And that is why you see some people, until now, they will not be able to pronounce some words. Uh, if you hear anybody pronounces the word love as love, That is interference. It means that person finds it difficult to pronounce the voiced labiodental fricative, that is va. So instead of that, the person will replace it with the voiceless counterpart, which exists in Yoruba language. So we don't have verb, that is the voice uh, labiodental fricative. We don't have it in Yoruba. So a Yoruba speaker who is trying to learn English will now replace it with the voiceless labiodental fricative, which is fa, like we have in fan. So now to pronounce the word as love is wrong. It is as a result of interference because the Yoruba language is interfering with English language. The word is pronounced as love, love. So the last part of the word has the voice, I mean, the labiodental fricative, which is va. So that is interference. Now, interference may not only be at the pronunciation level, at the phonological level, it could be at the semantic level, whereby the meaning you have, the preconceived meaning of a particular concept, now will still affect you when you are interpreting the English expressions in some cases. For example, uh, when a white man says, I want to drink orange, it does not mean he wants the fruit. He actually wants the juice. But because you're a Yoruba speaker and in your own culture, they drink orange as a fruit. That is why you say, mo fẹ́ mu ọsàn. But in the English language, they don't drink orange, they eat orange. If they say, I want to drink orange, it means they want to drink the juice. That is the juice, not the fruit. So the um, semantic interference will make you think, because in Yoruba we drink orange, mo mu ọsàn. Uh, it is not the same thing in the English language. It is I ate orange, not I drank orange. So it's not to drink when it is a fruit, it is to eat. So that is semantic interference. The meaning you have in Yoruba language, you're now transferring it to English language. And that's why some people will have direct translation of Yoruba expression to English language, which will not mean exactly the same thing in that language. Okay, so that is for interference. And then we have different levels of interference. We have semantic level of interference, we have phonological level of interference, we have syntactic level of interference. In fact, some scholars also identify that we have um, a psychological aspect of interference. Okay, so but majorly we have three levels of interference, which are syntactic level, phonological level, and semantic level of interference. Okay, now let's go straight to the discussion of the past questions. But before we start that, do we have, okay, I can see that you are telling me in your class, your department, that's still good, but that should not distract you from this lecture series. Please pay attention to the discussion, not to identifying yourself, please. So I want questions. I want questions from uh, every one of you online on those things we have discussed. Any question, please? Okay. The active and passive articulators. Somebody is asking about the active and passive. Okay, active articulators are those articulators that are found at the lower part of the mouth. They are very active because they move each time you pronounce words, or each time you make expressions. They move from time to time, and the most active of them is the tongue. Your tongue can move to touch any part of the upper part of the mouth to pronounce a lot of words. And don't forget, now most places of articulation are found at the upper part of the mouth. Your upper lip, your upper teeth, your alveolar ridge, your hard palate, and your velum. They are all they are all um, passive articulators. They are all passive articulators. uh, the tongue will always move up to touch them. For example, your tongue moves to touch the upper teeth to pronounce, to make the sound sa. That is the dental fricative, both voiceless and voiced dental fricative. Now, the one you have in words like both, both. So when you pronounce both, your tongue is touching the back of your upper teeth. That's why we call it dental sound. Then when you pronounce the word, I mean the sound, d, like you have in dog. Now your tongue is touching the alveolar ridge, and that sound is called alveolar sound. That is voiced alveolar plosive. Voiced alveolar plosive. And quickly, let me remind you again. Now, for you to describe consonant sounds, for you to name consonant sounds, like I told you, consonant sounds have their individual names, just like human beings. And that's why in language, we believe that uh, sounds behave like human beings. They behave like human beings. That's why they have their names too, like human beings. For example, your name you used to register in school are three